Greetings, this is Mr. Caslin. This is part one of two videos where we're going to talk about the properties of logarithms. We're going to talk about condensing logarithms and expanding logarithms. Your instructor's probably given you a set of properties that look like this. Okay, when you're taking the log of two factors that are multiplied together, you can break that out into two logs that are added, the log of the first factor plus the log of the second factor. When you're taking the logarithm of a fraction, that breaks out into the logarithm of the numerator minus the logarithm of the denominator. And when you're taking the log of a power, that's the same as multiplying by that exponent. The exponent times the log of the base. Okay, now notice with these properties, they're specifically related to what you were doing with exponents. Remember when you were doing exponents and you did like x to the fifth times x to the third? Now remember what the property there was. When you were multiplying two powers, you actually added the exponents. Okay, you got x to the eighth. So multiplication of two powers became an addition of the exponents. Alright, remember what happened when you divided powers? They had the same base. You have x to the fifth divided by x squared. Remember that division, what you would do is you would subtract the exponents. 5 minus 2 became x to the third. So divisions were related to subtractions, multiplications were related to additions. Now, you've been learning that logarithms and exponentials are related to one another, so those properties are similar here. Multiplications become additions, divisions become subtractions. Okay, now when you're condensing, what we're doing is, let's look at a couple problems. You're taking two or more logarithms and you're condensing it into one. So actually, we're taking the property and going in this direction. See how this looks like the subtraction of two logarithms? So we're actually using this property, we're going in this direction. Okay, two subtractions will become a division. Okay, also notice that this property is in play here because you've got a multiplication in front of a log. That's going to become an exponent when you're going in this direction. Okay, when you're condensing, condense that multiplication back into an exponent. Okay, so I would actually look for these multipliers first, and then what you're going to do is those are going to become exponents when you're condensing. So log base 6. Yeah, I'm still writing with my mouse, so excuse me, my writing's not very good. I'll just put the best we can get until I get a good stylus. Log base 6 of 10 to the 6th. Okay, minus log base 6 of 3 to the 24th. Okay, so all we've done is execute this property in this direction. Now, we said we're condensing, we're taking two logarithms and combining it into one, so this can become log base 6. Subtraction becomes what? Subtraction is going to become a division. You're dividing the first divided by the second. Okay, log base 6 of 10 to the 6th divided by 3 to the 24th. Let's wrap this in parentheses so the whole thing, we know we're doing log base 6 of the whole fraction. Okay, now why we're doing this, other than you have to for your math homework or your math test, the real reason we're doing this is because you're going to soon be solving equations that have logarithms in it. Okay? All these chapters, you learn the properties first, and then you're going to apply those properties to solving an equation. And by taking two logs and condensing them into one, okay, it's going to help you solve these more easily. Okay, but don't worry about solving it. You'll get to that soon. Right now we're condensing this into that. Okay, here we have additions. Let's look for our properties. When we're condensing, additions become multiplications. Okay, condensing it into one, these additions will become a multiplication. All right, now I put this problem in here specifically because it's tricky with this. We have this fraction in here. So what I would do is I would immediately, it's not clear what to do with this fraction, so I would immediately rewrite this. Okay, here's how I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to go log base 5w plus, this expression is really the same as 1/3 times the numerator, log base 5 of u plus 1/3 log base 5, well, sorry, I'm running out of room, log base 5 of v. Okay, so all I did was I took this out of fractional form and made these the multipliers. Now, these multipliers, as you'll see, really become, you've got this property here now. You've got a multiplier in front of a log. When we're condensing, we're going in this direction, so we're going to make those exponents. Okay, so like we did here, let's take those multipliers and make them exponents. We have log base 5 of w plus log base 5 of u to the 1/3. An exponent, remember, plus log base 5 of v to the 1/3. Okay, let's make some room for ourselves here. We're going to get rid of our properties for a second. Now you're ready to do your, well, before we get rid of it, remember we're going to condense now an addition into a multiplication. Okay, and you can do it with 2 or more. Okay, so we're condensing, it's all going to become one logarithm, log base 5 of what? Well, of w times u to the 1/3 times v to the 1/3. Now ask your instructor if this form is okay, or whether or not you want to convert this into radical notation. Now remember, earlier in this Algebra 2 class you have probably learned that fractional exponents can also be written in radical form. Okay, remember something to the 1/2 power is really the square root. Okay, so another form of this answer is going to be log base 5 of w times the cube root of u. Remember, the denominator of a fractional exponent becomes the index, times the cube root of v, so I'm going to condense those into one radical, the cube root of u times v. Okay, so this is another form of the same. These two are equivalent. Just get with ask your instructor which form he or she wants as the final answer. So again, we've taken 2 logarithms, we've condensed them into one log. This is going to help us out a lot when we go to solve equations with logarithms in it. All right, so logarithms are, for some of you, if you're in, let's say, an Algebra 2 class, logarithms are new. It's something that you haven't really covered in your other math classes, so be patient with it. It's going to take some time to learn them. Lots of good videos out there, so not only my videos, but search for some others, and you'll get some help. All right, and then look for the part 2 of these properties where we're going to go in the opposite direction. We're going to start with something like this, and we're going to say expand it, and we're going to end up doing the opposite and end up with the expanded logarithm. All right, have a good day and good luck on logarithms.